Should you be paying out finder's fees to other people who bring your agency new clients? That's what I'm talking about today on the Biz Chat. So I've been asked this question by a reader who said, what do you think of paying out finder's fees when somebody you know, like a colleague or a friend, says, hey, I know a client, I want to make an intro to you, will you pay me a finder's fee if the deal goes through? Here's my opinion on that. I used to run an agency, and during that time I had experimented with having somebody internally as a sales rep who went out and found clients and was paid mostly on commission. I've also had other people, colleagues, partners, people in different cities who we paid out commissions to when they brought us clients from those areas. And this is my experience with it. Overall, it's a bad idea and you shouldn't do it. So here's why. When somebody brings you a new client and says, I want you to pay me a finder's fee if this deal goes through, there's a lot of problems with this approach. Now, one of them is this. So somebody brings you a new client, they make the introduction, and then they go off on their merry way, and you work with that client. And let's say that client comes back and says, okay, now I want something else. Maybe there's another project, maybe there's a retainer, maybe there's something else that you sold that client. Now, do you suddenly owe a 10% fee to the person who brought you that relationship? Sometimes they'll expect that. They'll expect ongoing commissions or ongoing finder's fees because they originally made the connection. So if you haven't ironed that out, that can come back and bite you. Now, the other thing is, should you even be giving away a percentage of your client's fees to somebody who just made the intro, who introed you to that client? When you run an agency, a lot of times margins are very narrow as it is, right? Like, there's a lot of people that you need to fulfill client work. It's not like selling skincare cream or selling software as a service where you can bring in a high volume of new customers and it doesn't really add that much to your expenses. It's very different with the service agency. You need people, a lot of times, unbillable staff that are non-utilized. You need them to fulfill on certain client projects, like project managers, like testers, so people that you can't actively bill clients for. So bottom line is, your margins are pretty narrow as it is. So if you're only making 20% margins on a client project, and then somebody who brought you the work says, hey, I want 10% of the project as a finder's fee, well, now you're giving away 50% of your profit margin. Doesn't really make sense. The math doesn't compute. So that's one reason why you shouldn't do it. The other thing is that when you pay somebody a finder's fee for bringing you a client, they aren't necessarily bringing you that client because they think it's a perfect fit. They're not trying to bring equal value to both parties. They're basically trying to get money. And if you're talking to somebody and they say, hey, I know this perfect client for you, I'll make the connection, I'll introduce you guys to each other, you need to pay me a percentage of the deal, or you need to pay me a flat finder's fee to make the deal happen. Well, I would say, hey, you know what, I'll take you out to a nice restaurant, or I'll pay your bar tab as a thank you. They should be doing it because it's the nice thing to do. It's putting good karma, good mojo out in the universe, not just because they want the money, right? So sometimes they'll be trying to force round pegs into square holes and try to make certain relationships work that really don't, simply because they want that money. So it just doesn't make sense. So for all of those reasons, I don't think you should be paying out commission or finder's fee or referral fees or affiliate or whatever you want to call it to other people who bring you and introduce you clients. I think that's your job as a founder, is to create relationships with people, nurture relationships, build an account team under you whose job is to go out and create relationships with people. And the good thing is, if somebody internally on your team is out there building relationships, they also have to manage that relationship after they come in. They don't just get to wipe their hands clean and walk away as soon as the deal happens. So that's what you should be doing. That's how you should be getting clients into your agency and retaining them long term. If you enjoyed this video, I want you to hit subscribe in YouTube so you get more content. Sign up to our email list so that you get more videos, more podcasts every week. And I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know so that I can help you out? Thanks so much for watching.